Sound, Mind, and Body is supported by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/inbound.
Every single person is on the planet right now for a specific reason. And each of us have something, a little gem inside of us that it's our job to dig through the muck and find it and polish it off and share it with people. And I think that's why we're on the planet. I call it fig and gig. Find your gift and give your gift.
Oh, I like that.
And to give your gift and being of service.
Hello and welcome to Sound, Mind, and Body, a podcast where we interview inspiring people about the many different ways to stay healthy, balanced, and well of mind, body, and spirit in today's crazy world with a dash of woo-woo. I'm your host, Sheila Melody, and before we begin, I just wanted to announce again that I'm now offering health and wellness coaching to my Sound, Mind, and Body community. There are so many aspects to health and wellness, and through the years, I've learned and experienced many different ways to stay of sound mind and body. My mission is to share this information with all of you and help you to access the power to create the healthy, balanced life you are looking for. Okay, on with the episode. Our guest today is Leigh Koechner. Leigh inspires others by being unapologetically who she is. She has been described as being ballsy, vulnerable, and funny as hell. She is a speaker, a parenting expert, and a spiritual teacher with a master's in spiritual psychology and is committed to being of service by shining her light and sharing her story. I am so honored to have her on our podcast. Welcome, Leigh.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, Sheila. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to be introduced to you. We were introduced through a friend and one of the best connections I've made. So
I'm tickled pink by that. And I really loved how you described me. I was listening going, God, I like that girl. I want to get to know her. We forget sometimes what we're good at. And I was like, oh, yeah.
It's nice to be introduced, right?
Yeah, it was nice.
Well, you know, I've been learning about you and looking at all the things you're doing and just loving it more and more. The more I find out, the more I love about you. And just meeting you in person, too. You're just such a down-to-earth person. And you've got such a really powerful, yet it's an authentic message that you're telling everybody and you're helping people with. And so how did you get into doing what you're doing?
I think my mother propelled me into being a seeker and a learner and a teacher. And she was mentally ill, locked behind her bedroom door, and I didn't have access to her.
Okay.
So when I was young, I created this story that I'm not even good enough for my own mother to get out of bed for. So I felt like I didn't matter at all.
Right.
And I kind of lived my life that way. So I ran fast, partied hard, made out a lot at bars before I met my husband. And really it was just running and running and running and running from myself, I guess, because I didn't know what the hell was going on because I didn't matter, I thought. So once I met my husband when I turned 30 and his love was so pure and I started like getting drunk and picking fights with him. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. But I didn't know what to do with him because I didn't even feel worthy to have that kind of love.
Yeah.
So then he was like, let's go see a therapist. And I was like, all right. And we went on the first day and Dave said, you know, I was raised this way. And I was angry. And my mom, I was like, why the hell are you telling her all this? And then it was my turn. And I was like, things are great. I was raised in kind of a Brady Bunch family. My mom's quirky. My dad's a dog. And the lady was like, could you come back by yourself? And I was like, oh my gosh. So I did. I went back for 2 years. And the first time I went, I sat down, like, got nothing to talk about. And she was like, okay. And she asked me one question. And I started bawling.
Oh, my gosh.
And I cried the whole way through. And she was like, well, her time's up. I was like, okay. And then we went back the next week. I was like, things are great. I don't know why I'm here. She asked one question. I was like, ah. And then she goes, I said, am I ever going to be able to talk? Like, what is happening? She goes, you have 30 years of crying to do. Because I never cried. I just was strong.
Yeah.
I took care of myself. I didn't need anyone. And I was just crying. So she said, let's double up sessions twice a week to get through the crying.
Wow.
And then I just learned who I was and I learned why I had that behavior and how it served me and it doesn't serve me now and all of that kind of stuff. And I started opening and I think like melting the armor to accept this pure love from my husband. And as that happened and I was discovering who I am, I was like, wait a second. I didn't know I liked makeup and tutus, and I didn't know I was creative, and all of these things I was learning about myself. And so as I kept learning, that just kind of was moving me in the direction of using these wonderful gifts that I was starting to notice for the first time.
And then did you become a life coach, or what was your first, or did you take the spiritual psychology course, or what led you to do that?
I was constantly spinning, part ADD, but part creative force.
Right.
But constantly spinning on stories or show ideas. So I was pitching a new show idea every day, reality, and these show ideas. And I actually shot a pitch reel, and it went kind of far and didn't get purchased. And then I shot another one, and we went to Bravo, and I think it was... They liked it this level, and then it went to the head guy, the president, to make the decision. And I remember panicking because I thought, wait a second, this isn't what I want to be known for.
Oh.
This isn't who I am. This doesn't represent my heart. And so he passed on it, and I thought, okay, I'm not doing another thing until I know who I am and why I'm on this planet. Then out of the blue, which I think is always directly from God, falling on my lap, a girl reaches out to me and says, I'm a life coach. I pick one person a year to give a free 2-hour session to who's inspiring, and you inspire me on Facebook. Would you like to come in? And I said, hell yes. Can you say hell on this show?
Yes.
I said, hell yes. And then I was driving over to her, and I thought, what is this beauty queen, blonde bombshell actress, single? How's she going to life coach me, a mom with 5 kids? And I got into the room with her. And she said, can I bring in the light? And I lived here like 22 years. No one's ever said that. And I was like, yes, you can. And she said the most beautiful prayer. And I go, okay, where the hell did you learn how to talk like that? Because you're talking like the language of my soul times 1,000. And she goes, oh, I got my master's in spiritual psychology.
Okay.
I go, okay, so you didn't just pull that out of your ass. She's like, no, I'm trained. I go, okay. So then we keep talking in this 2-hour session, and she said, so what do you want to do? And I said, I want to have my own television show like Iyanla Van Zandt, except I don't want to be in people's faces. I want to do it with laughing and love and exploration and curiosity. And she said, she graduated from our program at University of Santa Monica. And I go, oh, okay. And so as she kept talking to me, I could tell she wanted me as her client. And I thought, God, I'm not feeling it at all. But I was like, God, if you want me to work with her, remove this block and I'll do it. I'm in, but I don't feel it. And then at the end of it, she said, I brought you here to be my client, but really I think you're supposed to go to the University of Santa Monica. And my body lit up.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know what the heck it was, but I walked out and signed up and started 3 days later in their makeup class.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went in with 2 questions. Who am I and why am I here? And I got both of those answers.
I love that. I think I should go to the University of Santa Monica. I swear. I feel like things are, I know a few other people that I've had on the podcast have done this, and it's been that self-discovery process after something has happened in their life, and then they go and then they really hone in on who they are and what they want to do in the world.
100%. And it removes all the obstacles and old stories and blocks and all the stuff that sometimes we don't even know that we hold.
This is what I really connect with on your story, because you grew up in a family with 6 children, and your mother was mentally ill. My mother had a nervous breakdown when I was young, and, 6 children. And I just felt like I was always looking out there for something to make me feel good.
100%.
And because I didn't have this kind of safe foundation at home.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, I'm just waiting to get old enough to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then I was always looking out there. And, when I hear your message, it just really hits home for me. And I think it's really powerful for a lot of people just to say, look, find out who you are inside, and then, realize what you're doing.
100%.
What your personality is coming from.
Yeah, it's like everyone, I do know this, that every single person is on the planet right now for a specific reason. And each of us have something, a little gem inside of us that it's our job to dig through the muck and find it and polish it off and share it with people. And I think that's why we're on the planet. I call it FIG and GIG, find your gift and give your gift.
Oh, I like that.
And to give your gift and being of service. Yeah.
Wow. So then you just started working with people after spiritual psychology, after doing that, and you had you just started saying, okay, I'm going to start working with people?
Well, yeah, I was actually, after I got my degree, I was standing on my kid's playground. A guy tapped me on my shoulder and said, would you be a part of my mindfulness movement documentary? I heard you're spiritual.
Oh, right.
And I said, heck yeah, like I do. And then I ran home and Googled mindfulness because I didn't know what the heck it meant.
Oh, really?
And I mean, I got my degree in spirituality. They didn't use the word mindful that often.
Oh.
And so it said, giving all of your attention to the present moment with no judgment. And I thought, if I'm going to work with this guy, I think I'm going to do a 33-day Facebook Live series. And each day, practice a mindful moment and share it with people. And so I'm teaching it as I'm learning it.
Oh.
And so I did that was my first 33-day program. And I picked the number 33 because it's my favorite number. I really like how Jesus Christ walked on this planet with love and compassion. He set such a beautiful example. It's also the same age I was when I had my first kid and almost died. So that number is a very powerful number. And also they say in your brain, if you do something for a month, it starts to create new neural pathways.
Right.
And if you do it over a month, those solidify.
So 33.
Yeah.
Well, it is a very powerful number. I don't know too much about it, but I do know that, I've read some things about that number 33. And, remember when there were the guys who were stuck in the mine?
Yeah.
Down in South America?
Yeah.
There were 33 of them.
Oh, wait. I was thinking of the kids in the cave.
Not the kids in the cave. This was several years ago. There were these guys who were stuck in a mine. It was for 33 days, I think. I think they were stuck there for 33 days, and I think there were 33 of them.
Do they all live?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes. And so it was one of those, master events that the whole world was, vibing about. So it's a very powerful number. So you do that on your Facebook.
I do it Facebook
So you
Live.
do different, you just continue it?
Yeah.
Do it
so
for
I did
33 days and do it again?
Yeah. The first one was the mindful moments.
Okay.
And then I did find your gift and give your gift. And then I did coming home, which is one of my favorite because coming home means coming back to yourself, to who you truly are. And I think that when we start from here, start from our heart area, and we're taking care of that and connected to that, then all the rest of our life falls into place in a beautiful way.
I love that. And I can't believe you are the mother of 5 children,
yes.
too. And your oldest is 19?
Yes.
So they're all little, because I called your phone and it said, leave my mommy a message.
That's my daughter,
so
Eve.
Cute.
She's 7 now. I think she was like 3 or 4, but it's so cute. I don't want to change it. I like that voice.
I think it's adorable.
Yeah.
I loved it.
No, I like when you said to me when I walked up, you said that body had 5 kids. And I said, maybe or maybe not. Maybe this body did, maybe it didn't. Yeah,
do you want to tell the story about your kids?
Well, yeah, it's just such an interesting.
It is.
Is that okay?
Sure.
It's just such an interesting story, and it goes with the whole thing that when things don't go as we think they should, or as we hope for them to go, or as we plan, it can turn out even greater, even though it feels like heartache and heartbreak at the time. Just with my first, I went into. I was actually, when you're sleeping, or not when you're sleeping, you might not know this, but I was laying in bed and I was 35 weeks pregnant and I felt like a whoosh, and I thought, I think my water just broke. And you know how you know your house so well, you can walk to the bathroom in the dark?
Yes.
So I walked to the dark, I sat down, and it was like a pitcher of water, and I was thinking, wait a second. They said Lamaze, it's like a trickle, but this is like a pitcher.
Oh, no.
And then my husband turned on the light, and it was blood. And it was everywhere, all over, everywhere, and it looked like a murder scene. And I was like, And my father was a surgeon at the hospital. I used to go to the hospital a lot with him to watch him, do surgery and stuff. And I remember, if you can get to the hospital alive, you're gonna live. I'm gonna be fine.
Really?
So we got to the hospital, emergency C-section, took my son, rushed him away, and I was like, go follow him, because I just saw a program last night that they switched babies. Oh. And the doctor's like, no, you need to stay with your wife. And then I was on the table for 3 hours, 7 pints of blood transfused, and they took out my uterus. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, wait a second. I thought I was going to have a bunch of kids with this guy, and I just finally got married at 33. I had my first at 33. What the heck's going on? And so I had to take like a year to mourn not being a woman, because I thought that's what women are. Like, we can carry children.
Right.
Or that, all these ideas that I had about being a failure or not, and I had to mourn all the kids I couldn't have. And then about a year later, we're ready. We started looking to adoption. And our doctor said, we left your ovaries, so you can take your ovaries and your husband's man juice, as I like to call it. That's the sickest word. And you can make embryos and incubate them in somebody else's body. And I was like, And only Joan London had done it back then. But my husband said, all right, let's try it. And we took out a second mortgage. He was an out-of-work actor, made embryos, put 3 into a surrogate, and had my daughter Margot, who is 17 now.
Wow.
And then we froze 4 and 4. And after the first time, my husband said, we got a boy and a girl, we're done, yay. And I said, no, actually, we have 8 left. And he's like, stop it. So after he paid off that mortgage, I said, hey, can we do it again one more time? And he was like, oh my gosh, one more time. So we thought out 4, 3 survived, put 3 into a different surrogate, had a boy and a girl twin. He was like, yay, we got 2 boys, 2 girls. I was like, we have 4 left.
We can't just leave them there.
We can't. We got to go. So anyway, we thought out the last 4, and they were frozen for 10 years. And one survived. And put 1 into the same surrogate that had the twins, and that's Eve, and she's 7.
Tell us the story about having the last surrogate that you just told us before we started this podcast.
Oh, you mean when
on your birthday?
My birthday. So my husband, I said, can we do surrogacy one more time? And this was for the last 4 frozen. And he said, because I said, I'm 44 years old. I don't want to be 70 having this discussion. We got to do it now or not do it. And he said, okay, I'm up for 2 programs for ABC. If one of them gets picked up and one goes to series, we can do it again. And I was like, awesome. He's up for 2 of them. And that a couple nights later at dinner, he gets the phone call and looks at me and just shakes his head no. And I'm like, you didn't get either. And he just shook his head no. And I went in my closet and cried. And I was like, God, let me let go of this idea that I have to do these 4 embryos. And let me just be grateful for the kids that I already have.
Right.
And I walked out and he said, are you going to be okay? I said, I think so. Yes, I'm going to be okay. We went on a little getaway for my birthday that weekend. Came back. There was a little surprise party for my birthday at my house with my kids and family. And then my surrogate walks in. And I was so upset that I had to tell my surrogate we weren't doing it again on my birthday. I was pissed. And then she gave me some card that looked like her son chicken scratched a letter. And I didn't want to fake read it and fake excited. So I just set it down and said, thank you. And my husband was like, you should probably read that. That was rude. So I pick it up and read it. And it says, happy birthday. Congratulations. Dave said yes.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, we'll take out another mortgage. And I was like, thank you so much. So we thought out 4, that 1 survived and put that 1 in. And I just really am clear that we did it the way we were supposed to.
Right.
That God had intended us for us to do, to surrender. And the lessons that I learned from letting another person carry my child and really having no say, this trust and surrender.
Wow.
It was really unbelievable. The
and
things
then
that I learned from it.
The souls that came through.
And they were the people who are coming, like if you're a mother or you're wanting to be a mother and you can't have your own baby right now or you're getting ready to try in vitro, I just want you to know, stand in faith, stand firm knowing you're going to have a baby. Because when a mother wants a baby comes, whether it's through foster care or adoption or surrogacy or in vitro, or oops, we got pregnant when we were told we couldn't, or when I put in for adoption, I got pregnant. So however that baby comes, it's coming, and there's a child. That's yours.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about some of the great things that you're doing, including being a parenting expert on Deepak Chopra's
No
app.
big deal. No big deal.
Big deal. And a very special announcement that you have to make about a new project you're doing.
Yes.
So when we get back, we'll talk about all that.
Thank you, darling.
Hey, it's Tim Edwards with the Inbound Podcasting Network and producer of Sound, Mind, and Body. Just the fact that you're listening to the Sound, Mind, and Body podcast tells us that you enjoy consuming your content through your ears. Now, if you're a podcast listener, you're a perfect fit to enjoy audiobooks. So for you, our listeners and official members of Sheila's woo-woo community, Audible is offering you a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial to check out their awesome service. Give it a shot. You've got nothing to lose. It's absolutely free for 30 days, and you get a free audiobook to keep even if you don't continue with the subscription. Support Sound, Mind, and Body by visiting audibletrial.com/inbound. That's audibletrial.com/inbound. We'll include a link in the show notes, or just click the Audible banner at soundmindbodypodcast.com.
Okay, we are back, and we're talking to Leigh Koechner.
Hi, friends.
And before the break, we started to talk about how she is a the mother of 5 children, and she's a parenting expert on Deepak Chopra's global well-being app, Jiyo.
Jiyo.
It's Jiyo.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
It came at such a beautiful time. Like we talk about how the universe kicks ass and takes care of us when we surrender and move forward powerfully, knowing what we want or what our desire is. And I kept trying to speak at places and do stuff. And they kept saying, I'm sorry, we only take doctors or experts. And I was like, or doctors, experts, or you have to be an author. You have to have a book published. And I was like, well, I know a lot of information. Why do I have to do those things? So I kept like trying to be an expert. And people were like, no. And then I went and spoke. And then I actually looked up the definition of expert. And what it says is you've been doing something for a while and you're pretty good at it or knowledgeable of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a parenting expert.
Yeah.
I've been doing it 19 years. It's pretty damn good. Or learning from my mistakes anyway, I guess I should say. So I went to speak at, my friend has a conference called Lead with Love in Aspen, Colorado. Mm-hmm. And I went to speak at it. And after I went to a fundraising dinner, and I didn't really love the people that were speaking. So I went to the bar and got a martini. And this man sat next to me named Punacha Machia, I think is his last name. He's from India, and he is kind of partners with Deepak Chopra. And I heard him speak, and he was so amazing. And he sat down next, and I said, hey, Green Eyes, you got a good head on your shoulders. Keep doing what you're doing, kid. And he starts laughing. And he's like, what do you do? And I said, I came here to speak about manifesting, and I have 5 kids, and I was talking about my kids and stuff. And he goes, could I have your business card? And I said, sure. I gave him my business card. He reached out to me a couple days later when I was back in LA, and he said, would you look at this app, Jiyo? And I looked at it. It was kind of confusing, so I didn't spend a lot of time, and I got off. And then he called me back, and he goes, did you look at it? I said, yeah, but it's kind of hard for me to navigate. He goes, okay, and we talked about that. And then he said, I was going to ask if you would be open to being our parenting expert on the app.
Oh my God.
And I was like, thank you, universe.
You. Yeah.
And such an organic way to be asked. And he said a lot of people applied for this. A lot of doctors, a lot of authors, a lot of people, experts applied for this. And he goes, but you are messy and all in it. And sharing it in such a vulnerable, loving way and expressing it in such a helpful way. We'd like you to be the person. And I was like, awesome. Awesome.
It seems like magic, but
it's not magic.
I hear time and time again, you get something in your head, you go, you know what, I'd really like to do this. And then you start walking in that direction, you start doing something, and then it literally sits down next to you and comes to you.
I just said it's not magic, but I meant to say it is magic.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Well, it's life when you allow it, right?
Well, it's a combo of things. I think one is having a knowing and moving forward, and the other is letting go how and when and why. How. Right. It's knowing that when you move forward, the universe is going to meet you where you are. So if you sit with the great ideas, you're going to sit with the great ideas. If you move forward with them, the universe is going to help you and bring you things, and you're going to attract what you want and literally manifest what you want.
In divine timing.
Yes.
And that is a segue to you talking about your latest project that you're so excited about.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Let's talk about that and how it all manifested.
Well, 2 quick points before I tell the actual story. One, when I was 25 years old, I put my bank card in the bank machine in West Hollywood, California, getting money out to go get drunk because I was a big partier back before I shed some of my old stories. But I was getting money out, and I had this vision of me on a stage with a Janet Jackson microphone with a giant crowd, like in a stadium or auditorium or something huge. And it was so clear to me, I thought, oh my goodness, what was that? What am I going to become? Am I going to be Janet Jackson? I'm not a great singer. Am I going to be a stand-up comedian? What was I doing? Am I a professor? Like, what the hell was going on in that? But it was so clear. I knew that was coming.
Wow.
But then it got put in my back pocket, and I went and partied, forgot about it. Every once in a while, that vision would come back to me that I wonder what's going to happen. Uh-huh. I remember the first time I spoke in Aspen, they said, do you want a headset or handheld? And I go, a headset. But it wasn't a Janet Jackson, kind of kept falling off. So I go, this isn't it yet. It's still coming, but it's not here yet. That vision has not been manifested. So anyway, I also had a clear vision that I was to work with my husband. My husband's David Koechner. He's an actor from Anchorman and The Office, Todd Packer. And I said, hey, honey, I think we should work together like 10 years ago. And he said, I'm an actor and you're in reality TV. We are 2 separate things, honey. You go do you, I'll do me. I was like, whatever. And then about a few years later, I said, I think we should work together. And I just kept saying, honey, it's really clear to me it's going to be abundant for us if we do something together. And it's kind of like, you got kind of a fun, hot wife over here. Use her. If I can talk about myself in the third person.
Yeah.
But he was so resistant to it, so I just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to work on building my platform and who I am and what I'm here to do and strengthen myself and let him do his thing.
Right.
So then now I know who I am and why I'm on the planet. And I've been sharing my gifts and being of service. And now I feel equal to my husband kind of on a work front. Before I was kind of like a needy wife wanting something, and that was a repellent. And the other night we hosted my daughter's gala, and this guy, this comedian my husband looks up to, started talking about, my husband goes, he sells out theaters. See, Leigh, I can sell theaters like him and make a lot of money. And the guy goes, my podcast actually makes more than stand-up. And Dave goes, what? And I said out loud to him and his wife, the other guy's wife, I said, I've been telling Dave we should do a podcast together for years because nobody's really doing that. And I got a lot to say, and so does he. And we think so differently.
Right.
And we're
you're
grounded in love.
And you have kids.
Yeah,
and
we're in the mess of it.
Yeah.
And we are loving it.
So many people can relate,
So I said this out loud, and the woman said, you need to do a podcast with your wife, this guy's wife. And my husband just kind of heard it for the first time, literally.
Of course.
And so today, on the way here, he called me and he said, we're going to meet with that couple tonight. They're going to walk us through it. We're going to start a podcast, and it's going to be really abundant for us. And I giggled with the universe because the universe and I had that message 10 years ago. But the beauty of it is I needed the time to get to know myself in a powerful way.
Right.
To be able to show up where David is as an actor, me as a spiritual teacher, or me and my platform equal to him.
Right.
And together now we can move forward. And I had to show up in that way for him to see me that way. At the moment when that guy said that, now he sees me as a peer, not just a needy wife who wants to have her own show.
Right.
Right? Because that's how he kind of looked at me.
And plus you have that confidence in yourself because you've done it.
Yes, I'm ready now. So in divine timing, me having a knowing it was coming,
right,
releasing it and surrendering it and doing my work. And then when I did, I was rewarded with him saying, I see you now. Let's move forward. So my husband and I will be starting a podcast. I'd like it to be called Our Messy, Imperfect Life Podcast.
I love that.
But I'm not sure if he'll agree to it. But
you're doing
yes,
you're doing something here in LA in March, right?
March 7th.
7th, you're doing at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City. And when it comes around, I'll promote this too. It's called Embrace Your Messy, Imperfect Life.
Yeah.
And so what is it? It's a full day
It's a full day of self-exploration, of empowerment, of finding identifying the story that we created when we were 7 years old, like mine was, I'm not even good enough for my own mother to get out of bed for. And then we take those little stories and put them on our head, and they cripple us.
Right.
And we miss out on so much of our life because we have a thought that we created when we were 7.
And you didn't know it was there even.
No, you don't know it's there.
Yeah.
And so helping people identify the limiting thought, the limiting belief, where it came from, and actually crushing it and dissolving it to free ourselves up and do a lot of fun stuff. It's going to be really, really powerful.
I'm going.
Yes, you are coming.
I need to do this.
I'm so excited you're coming. And I find every time I lead anything or I do one of my programs or I interact with someone or do consulting, I grow so much as well from what comes out of my pie hole because I let things flow
right
that are supposed to be said, not
Your
what
channel.
I'm thinking about. Yeah, I just let it come out what the person needs to hear. And then sometimes I'll hear myself talk and go, oh, that was good. I hope somebody's recording this because I need to hear that myself.
I love that. See, that's kind of how I feel about this podcast because I interview all these people that I find inspiring and very interesting.
Yeah.
And it keeps me accountable to keeping myself motivated, inspired. And then therefore I can then maybe motivate and inspire other people. And it's just a loop.
Isn't it a beautiful loop?
It is.
It's the infinity loop.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about you. I want to ask you my sound, mind, and body questions.
All right.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Okay. So what's a favorite sound?
My favorite sound is when I am 60 feet under the water, scuba diving, and I take a deep, slow breath in, and when I exhale, the bubbles come out of my mouth, and it's like being in a fish tank. And
so you're a scuba diver.
I used to be an instructor for Club Med.
That terrifies me, scuba diving.
Oh my gosh, it's my
it looks gorgeous, and I wish I could do it, but I just don't think I could do it.
Yeah, if you have anxiety, it's like hell. People get down there and think they're suffocating.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, it's freedom. It's like being on the moon. It's weightless. And you just feel like, It's the closest you can get to floating on a cloud. You put a little air in your jacket, your BC, and then you're neutrally buoyant. You can sit cross-legged 60 feet under and just look at.
Oh, how cool.
And I don't go in places with scary sharks, but I've been shark diving a lot, but not with scary sharks.
If
there's such a thing.
It sounds amazing, and maybe I can virtually do it someday when the virtual reality gets really, really good.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe someday I'll do it.
No, maybe I'll make you do it.
I'll face my fears.
It is good to face your fears because then you find when you do something, I gave attention and blocks from that.
Yeah.
That was nothing, and it just dissolves and you're more open. Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
you're going to be diving.
Let me think about it. Okay. So, what's a favorite memory?
One of my favorite memories is I got jumped in, I think, second grade when I was 7 by Greg Bishop and David Bishop and Greg Hyde. And one of them popped me in the side of the head and the other pushed me and I fell. And I just got my ears pierced and blood was coming down my ear. And I ran home and I pounded on my mom's door. This is the day that I shaped that message, but I pounded on my mom's door. And I was like, Mom, I need you. Oh my gosh, I need you. Crying, she wouldn't open the door. And finally she yelled, go away, I'm trying to sleep. And I went and cleaned myself up and I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, you don't need her. You don't need anyone. You got this. And then the next day, that night at dinner, the next day, I went and waited for those 2 boys.
Yeah.
I beat them up. I made them pay. I don't advocate that, but that's what the heck was going on in my life at the time.
Good for you.
And when I got home from school, my dad said, what happened to you? Because my shirt was ripped and I had a fat lip. And I said, I got in a fight with David Bishop and Greg Hyde. And he said, Michael, Patrick, get over here. Look at what these guys did to your sister. You don't come home till you make them pay. So my brothers go to school the next day, come home, and at the dinner table, he said, Michael, Patrick, what do you have to report? And they go, he goes, what'd you do? And they go, nothing. David Bishop had a black eye and Greg Hyde had a missing tooth. And we thought and my dad, I'll never forget my dad looking at me with this. I've never seen his eyes so proud. And he rustled my hair with his hand and he said, you have more balls than anyone I've ever met.
Oh my God.
I'm so GD proud of you. And I was like, it was like he said I was the Queen of Sheba. I mean, it was like, I have balls. It was like the most beautiful thing. And that was one memory just because of how he looked, how proud he was of me, even though it was over beating someone up.
My God.
He was probably happy because he was working all the time and my mom was in bed. He's like, at least one can take care of themselves. Like, who knows?
That is a fantastic story.
And so that's why I on my website, it says compassion and balls. I have a t-shirt that says it and people are like, Guy, balls, that's so sick. And I was like, no, it's so beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is an incredible story.
Thank you.
I can see that in a movie someday.
Just seeing him, the way he looked at me would touch my heart.
Aw, what a unique story too. A unique memory. Okay, so favorite place.
My gosh, what did I write down? My favorite place was, I feel like I want to say the beach or Casa Vega.
Casa Vega. That's what you put. I was like, okay, for people who don't live in LA.
It's a Mexican restaurant.
If Tim knows what Casa Vega is.
Dang, it's so
I do. I love Casa Vega.
It's dark with red leather boots.
It is so old school.
Old school food.
It's
melted
old school,
cheese.
like, and I come from.
The best margaritas.
Yeah, the best. The women
best.
are in... They're in like traditional attire,
Mexican.
You feel like you're in Mexico.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And it's right in Studio City.
So I like being on the beach. I like seeing the ocean. I like looking out to everythingness, never-ending possibilities. I like the saying, I think it was Rumi, I don't even know, but we are not a drop in the ocean. We are the entire ocean in a drop. Or something like that.
Yes.
I love it. And I'm a Pisces, and I guess I love water and scuba diving. So the beach is my happy place. So if I had Casa Vega to go, margarita, surrounded by my family and friends and on the beach, that would be heaven.
That's heaven.
On earth.
I love it.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Casa Vega. Shout out to Casa
Vega.
I wonder if they're on Instagram, are they?
The owner of it, who in my mind is a celebrity because it's my favorite Mexican place, Mr. Vega's daughter, Christina Vega, goes to our school, Fowler.
Really?
Yeah, her kids go to St. Francis with my kids.
Oh my God.
So I'm always like, hey, Casa Vega, hi. It's like the people who are celebrities to me are like on the 4 o'clock news and Casa Vega owner. The rest of them are just normal celebrities. Like, oh my gosh, that's the news person from Channel 7 News at 4. Hi. My husband's like, Leigh, that's local news. And there's Clint Eastwood. I'm like, I know, hi. I see the Casa Vega girl who's like this younger mom than me. I'm like, hi. I like taking margaritas.
Oh, I want to go to Casa Vega with you.
Oh, we'll have to.
Okay, we're going to
That
meet.
and scuba dive.
We're going to meet. Okay.
Not at the same time.
No, please. You're going to have to get a lot of margaritas in me at Casa Vega to get me to agree to scuba dive.
All right.
So,
okay.
It's a plan. All right, final question. What's the most woo-woo thing you've ever done?
It just happened recently, and it was so powerful that I got a tattoo on my arm about it.
Oh my gosh.
I went to a meditation studio, and it was like a dark studio, and it smelled really good, and it was like blue lights, and they had this like comfortable couch thing down on the, you could lean it forward and put it back as a bed.
Oh, right.
And I got on it, and I put the soft blanket over me, and I set my intention. I said, God, let me experience all that I can experience from this. And then the girl started talking, relaxing us. And then she took a cord of light from our root chakra into the earth and connected us to the middle of the earth. And then the light came up, and she opened our crown chakra and brought the light up to the sky, through the clouds, through the stars, through the atmosphere, into, and then I stopped hearing her voice. Mm-hmm. And you know how on those like Star Trek or whatever movies, the spaceship just shoots at light speed into another dimension?
Yes.
Okay, I did that. So all of a sudden I shot to stars, and on the third one I stopped, and there were 1 million stars, and I knew them. And when people have said you can't put words to it because it was so beyond our minds and beyond any words, it was the most blissful, beautiful peace. And I was home. And I felt like, oh, I'm home. And then about 350 stars shot in a semicircle around me. And I'm just looking at them, and I knew them all. And I think they're my posse, the people that are around me here now.
Oh, my gosh.
And then and I was laying flat on my back as a star. I was laying flat down looking up at all of this. And out of each of my points, there was a beam of light kind of coming out of each of the 5 points. And then one star shot over diagonal from me, and another one laying next to me, and their beams of light connected to mine. And I looked over, and it was my mom and dad, who had both passed away. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, mom and dad. It was like, oh.
It was just a knowing.
I'm here. I'm home. And how I felt was, that's where I really am.
Wow.
And I'm watching my part of my consciousness experience being human as the expansion of my consciousness, where I am up there in these stars with these beautiful freaking people.
That is incredible.
So it was so incredible. Then all of a sudden she says, we're going to come back in our body. I mean, we're going to come back through here to the stars, and then into our crown, into our body. And then she said, blink your eyes open. Well, I blinked my eyes open, and I'm looking around like, oh my gosh, can you guys believe that? And I'm looking at the two girls next to me, and they're like, so are you going to do Pilates today? And I was like, okay, they did not go to the stars. So I look over to my left, and there's a man sitting there, and he's like looking at his phone. I was like, what in the heck just happened?
Oh my gosh.
So I walk out to the lady, and I tap her, and I go, hey, I just wanted to thank you. I just saw my mom and dad. And she goes, tell me about it. And she starts crying and goes, I'm so excited and happy that you got to experience that. I was like, oh my gosh. So I walk out, and I'm just looking at people on the street going, do you have any idea? I'm a star right now up there and just looking down at us here. And it's so peaceful. But I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't do anything. I just went home with it. And then I made a blog of it, and then it got published on Thrive Global.
Oh, okay.
And then Ariana Huffington's new thing.
Yes.
And then I got a tattoo of a star on my wrist, because every time I'm in my day or doing this and I look, I'm like, oh, don't take it so serious. All of this is so temporary. Enjoy your time here.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. And really, I'm a star. The whole time I thought I wanted to be a starlet. No, I'm just an actual star.
You're a star, and you're wearing a necklace that says star power, and I love that.
This necklace after that.
You did?
Yes, I sell these on my website.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you sell those. This is fabulous. I'm going to take a picture before you leave. And then is that blog available? We can put the link?
Yes, absolutely.
In the show notes?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Love to
and
read that.
My part of my thing I'm doing on March 7th about embracing your messy life is so you can shine your star power. It's embracing who you are right now, just as you are. You don't have to lose a pound. You don't have to take a class or have a certification. You don't have to wait for a damn thing. Every single thing that you have done up to this moment is preparing you for what you're here to do. And it's time for us to find that and do it. And then when we do, depression will go down. being overweight and alcoholism, everything will decrease because people will be so fulfilled and happy. They won't need to numb themselves.
That is so beautiful. It makes me want to cry.
Let's cry. Have we cried
together.
yet? I love crying.
We have Kleenex here.
I love crying so much.
Oh my God, you just are the most beautiful. You are a star. You are just this beautiful light energy.
Oh, thank you
love
so much.
you, Leigh. You are just fantastic.
I love you too, Sheila.
Privileged to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful.
And you know, it's so funny, the two things I learned at that school, that I am a bright light temporarily housed in this earth suit.
Right.
And that why I'm on the planet is to shine my light. That's it. So everything that allows me to shine my light is in line with why I'm on the planet. So when you saying you're a bright light touches my heart because I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
You certainly are.
Oh, thank you, my love.
Tell. And thank you so much for driving out here and being with us here.
I love this La Cañada.
It's beautiful.
Is it La Cañada or Crescenta?
Kind of on the cusp.
Oh, wow.
La
Straddling
Cañada.
two cities here.
It's beautiful up here.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us.
And thank you, producer over there.
And we can't wait for your podcast.
Yay!
With your husband.
Look out for it.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Casa Vega.
Find your star power.
Well, that's it for this episode. And I wish it wouldn't end because I could listen to Leigh all day long. And I think her message is so powerful. And I hope that you all listening feel the same because I just really believe we're connected to people for certain reasons. And I needed to hear what Leigh had to say today. And I'm going to carry that with me, and it's going to change me from this point forward. So thank you again, Leigh, for being with us. And you're going to help a lot of people. Thank you so much for listening. And please subscribe if you haven't already. You can do that on our website under the subscribe tab. Just select your favorite listening platform and subscribe to get notified of new episodes right away. And while you're at it, you can join our woo-woo community. Just enter your email on the homepage of our website and you'll start to receive an email every Monday with the latest episode, along with special announcements and other news. I've got some things planned, so join us now and don't miss out. And if you like the podcast, we would so appreciate it if you give us a review on iTunes. It really helps new listeners find us. Thank you to our producer, Tim Edwards, and the Inbound Podcasting Network. And thank you so much to our guest, Leigh Koechner. Get in touch and join the conversation. We're on Instagram at Sound Mind Body Podcast, or find us on Facebook, YouTube, or the web. Search for Sound Mind and Body Podcast. Or send us a voice memo or email to soundmindbodypodcast@gmail.com. I'm Sheila Melody. Join us next week as we explore, enlighten, and evolve.